Hi, my name is Jessica Peterson. I am here at the Montenegro retreat with Doctor Filonov. I am on day 5 of my fast. What brought me here was, just doing research, trying to find answers for some chronic health issues that I was having. I've been sick for about 9 years and searching for answers. About a year and a half ago, I was finally diagnosed with Lyme disease, amongst other diagnoses, mold exposure, chronic fatigue syndrome, SIRS. Those are probably the main ones. So I found this retreat through reading Michelle Slater's book, Starving to Heal in Siberia. And, when I read her book, it really spoke to me. I related with a lot of the things that she shared in that book, and to see her be able to go from where she was to then living a life and expanding and happy and vibrant and doing things, it really inspired me. I read the book several times within a couple of weeks, and I was on my computer trying to find Dr. Filonov out in Russia. And I remember thinking, this is crazy. I couldn't go there. I'm an American, But then I, kept finding some links and ultimately found this retreat. And in my mind, I was thinking still, you can't possibly go 9 days without food. That's an impossibility. But I kept looking at people's testimonials and saying like, wow, there are people out here that are doing this. And it really inspired me. So about a month later on my own, I just was like, well, I'm going to fast. And so I did a 2-day fast. And it was incredible, the results that I had. After 2 days, I probably dropped off 4 symptoms that I had been working on for years with doctors. I mean, I've been to over a dozen doctors and taken the supplements, done all of the things, and none of them could touch these symptoms. And after 2 days of fasting on my own, I woke up one morning and it was like things were gone. I started sleeping better. I used to have burning in my feet every single night for probably 7 years, burning in my feet. I would wear ice packs on my feet, and I switched ice packs out in the middle of the night. Could never figure out why my feet were on fire. And after the 2-day fast, it was like somebody put the fire out. It was just gone. I've always had a lot of, I call them the voices in my head, just the negative chatter and the, just like the negative thought patterns. And, I do a lot of meditation, a lot of energy healing, a lot of, inner child work and trauma work, and, trying to uplift my vibration. Like I do a lot of work. And it was just like these voices are just still always there, always in my head. I could not seem to get rid of them. And I remember waking up after my 2-day fast, and my head was just clear. It was just calm and tranquil. And I was like, wow, I can live in this body. I can live with this head, It was so beautiful to me, so profound. So after doing that 2-day fast, I was like, there's something to this. And in all of this, I was talking with my God and saying, am I supposed to do this? And I remember feeling the impression that was like, well, I can't answer that now. Like, I can't tell you right now, yeah, go fast for 9 days, because you wouldn't be able to like hold that truth. Like I knew that was too much. But he was like, start taking the steps, 1 step at a time, and listen to your body and you'll know if it's right for you. So I did that 2-day fast. It was very clear that it was time to move to the next step. So at that point, I did reach out to Dr. Filonov and I did a consultation with him. And from there, decided to do the 21-day cleanse, which was so helpful for me. I feel like it required a lot. I do feel like, between the right foods and the cleanses and the different things, like I was in it. And like it really required my effort to do that. But although it was hard, because I was cleansing and because I felt a lot of things coming out of my body doing that 21-day cleanse, it was very difficult. But the whole time I intuitively knew that I was healing, that I was shifting, that I was cleansing things out of my body. So by the end of that 21-day, within that, I did do a 3-day water fast and I did do a 3-day dry fast. And every time, same thing. At the end of those fasts, light. And just, my mind felt clean, my body felt clean, and I just felt things shifting inside of my body in such a beautiful way. And it was like, yes, this is working. And I knew like, this is where I need to go. So then it was like, okay, I'm going to the retreat. I'm doing this, And at that point, that truth had kind of come into me. So decided to sign up for this retreat that I'm here today. And then I did do one more fast between then and now to get myself prepared. I did another 5-day fast at home. And once again, it's difficult. It's very difficult. It's difficult for the mind. It's difficult for the body. It's difficult for my family and people around me who don't understand this and who it scares, But every time I would get through, I would get light, I would get happy, like the weight would come back on and everything would kind of normalize. And it was just like this beautiful, profound experience, not only for me, but for people around me observing me in that. And so, yeah, it's been a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful journey for me getting to this point. It's taken a lot of effort. I feel like what Dr. Filonov gives is he gives all the information that you need, and he's there to answer questions and be there to support. But ultimately, it's up to me. I'm the one who had to rearrange my life and my family. I'm the one who had to choose to do it. I'm the one who chose not to drink the water, not to eat the food day after day. Like, there's a lot of like that personal, internal work that really you have to have in order to do this. So here I am at the retreat on day 5 of my fast. And it's already been kind of a ride for me. Today's day 1 of the retreat, but I am on the 5th day of my fast. My expectations for myself in coming here were that, so when I had done my 5-day fast, I got through day 1, 2, 3, and 4 pretty well, like had a decent amount of energy. And it wasn't until day 5 that I kind of dropped and was like, oh, this is getting hard. So I figured that that's what this would look like, and I would be good 1, 2, 3, and 4, and day 5 things would start to get tricky for me. Well, with coming from Utah, I'm traveling here from Utah, so it's about 27, 28 hours of travel time for me to get here. And I did decide to start fasting before we traveled out. So fasted one night, started my flights the next day, and we had 2 days worth of flying to get here. And I think between fasting and flying and, the chronic illness, like it was tough. Those 2 days getting here were tough. I think I may have started into one of the acidotic crises while I was traveling. And I just had to get here. And I thought, once I get there and get better, I'll be fine. And then my day 3 and 4, I continued to struggle. I mean, I was a puddle on the ground, in the park, in the airport, everywhere, just like flat on the ground, just exhausted. The migraines, the back aches, like I was feeling it on so many levels. And I knew that a lot of that had to do with travel and fasting. I was pretty miserable and had expected that to kind of go away, but it really didn't day 3 and day 4. So I had a lot of that discouragement creeping in, like, wow, like I'm on day 3 and this is the worst I've ever felt fasting before. I'm on day 4 and this is the worst I've ever felt fasting before. How could I possibly get through 9 days if I'm already feeling this bad? I don't know if I can do it. So a lot of discouragement was creeping in. Dr. Filonov always recommends that we walk 10K every day, and I've always done that. I get up and I do it. I'm tired, but I do it. And so I got here on day 3. Could not walk a 10K. I think I got 1.5 miles in that day, and I was toast. Okay, tomorrow I'm going to wake up. I'm going to do it. We're going to try again tomorrow. So my day 4 hit. Same thing. I think I got 1.5 miles in, and I was gone. So a lot of discouragement was coming in, and I was feeling really frustrated with myself, with my body. Am I going to be able to do this? Like a lot of, that negative chatter in my head. And I remember laying down yesterday evening and resting my body and having just kind of this intuitive thought, or, just some light kind of came through, and it was kind of chastising me and just saying, your body's doing the work. Your body's doing the work. It's doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing, and you're getting frustrated with it because it can't get up and walk. And it was just this like opening to me that was like, I have in my mind that it was supposed to look a certain way, that I was supposed to walk my 10K and that I was going to be ready and prepared for this and show up as this bright, wonderful student. And it wasn't working and I was frustrated. And yet within me, I know now that my body was truly doing the work that it needed to do. And then I needed to have a little bit of patience and gratitude really for my body and all that it was doing for me. So I really shifted that mindset and I turned some time to my body and I just said, thank you, body, for what you're doing. I'm sorry for being hard on you. And I see that you're working. I know that all of the organs and different things are working together in my body. I know that it's the intuition of the body that does the healing, not me and what I think it's supposed to look like. So as I shifted that, I think that was really a lesson for me to learn because I changed that mindset and then things started to turn around for me. So then last night, actually at 10 o'clock at night, I went out to go do some walking, hoping that it would help me to be able to fall asleep that night. And so I walked from 10 to about 11 and I finished. I got all my 10K in and I came and I laid down and I actually slept for 3 hours, which was amazing and glorious to get 3 hours in. And I'm feeling much better today. So here I am on my day 5 and actually I've only had one other day 5 before, but this time around, I'm feeling better than I did on my day 5 before. So I'm learning that all of my fasts are so different and that I can't really have an expectation of how one is going to look over another. But I'm super grateful to have a little bit of energy back and be feeling good and ready to do the next 5 or so days of my fasting. So that's my story. Today is day 2 of the retreat and I am on day 6 of my fast. I'm actually feeling really good today. I feel like my energy has really picked up. And with that, my mood, my mental state, everything's just feeling really good. I feel like I'm kind of in like that sweet spot within the fast where things are just working and I'm feeling good. Today is being my 6th day. It's like my first day in uncharted territory. Back at home, the longest fast I had done was up to 5 days. So that's been exciting for me. The one thing that I've learned today or observed over the last couple of days, yesterday in my video, I shared how my days 1, 2, 3, and 4 were very difficult. They were unexpectedly difficult. And I really, in my experience with fasting, I've always felt pretty good the first couple of days, and then I've dropped off and gotten worse. And then as my fasts got longer and my body kind of adjusted to fasting a little bit more, then I would feel good a little longer and then it would drop off and I would start fasting. So I was always under the impression from my own experience that things would be okay until a certain point and then they would drop off and then it was kind of over. So for me, having those rough days in the beginning, I really projected that things were going to keep getting worse and worse and worse. And how could I possibly get through the 9 days? That's where that discouragement came in. What I'm learning as I've embodied this experience in the last couple of days is that I got through those 4 days, which I believe looking back, I believe I was going through one of the healing crises. Okay, so today is day 3 of the retreat and I am on day 7 of my fast. And I'm feeling really good today, actually. I mentioned this in my video yesterday, but a few days ago, I could barely get off of a bench. And today I went and hiked up and over the mountain and I felt great. I felt like I could move. I felt like my energy was there and my muscles were working for me. And honestly, I felt alive. We went kind of down into town, into Petrovac, and as we were walking around and we were seeing people eating and vacationing and out at the beach, I thought, wow, there's a life out here. And actually, I want to do that life. Like I found my heart opening up a little bit and my dreams waking up. And a lot of years that I have not been able to dream about things like that, Spent a lot of years just trying to get by, trying to take care of myself. I have 5 children at home, and that takes everything. It takes everything. I traveled to Europe a year ago. It was awful. I couldn't do it. It was too hard on my body. Actually, I've traveled to Europe twice, and both times I have awful experiences of being there because the travel was just too hard on me. And the travel was hard getting here for sure, but I'm pulling out of the crisis and pulling out of the sickness and finding light and life in myself again. And with that, I'm also finding like something inside of me is waking up. Like, I want to live. I want to dream. I want a vacation. I want to come back here to Montenegro, and I want to have dinner, and I want to go to the beach. And before, I wouldn't have even wanted to ask for that because I knew that I couldn't have that, and I knew how difficult that would be for my body. So I feel like the miracle of today is just the waking up of something that's been buried deep inside of me that I had to literally shut off because I just didn't have the capacity or the bandwidth to be able to step into that. And the fact that I'm feeling those dreams bubbling up within me feels so exciting. And I know that, like, wow, there's a life outside of here now that I can start considering that I haven't considered for so many years. So I'm really actually excited to meet the new me on the other side of this. I'm really excited to see what dreams come up for me and what I'm able to actually see and do and accomplish. I feel like there's just this whole new world and this whole new life that is out there that I'm finally being able to tap into and see little tiny pictures of the ability for me to have that back into my life. So that's my miracle today. Hey there, my name's Jessica Peterson. Today is day 5 of the retreat, and I am on day 9 of my fast. Today has actually been a really good day. I've been surprised at how well I felt. 7, 8, and 9, better than I had expected. Felt pretty vibrant this morning. I'm definitely feeling myself starting to fade at this point. I feel quite sleepy, a little cognitively. I'm not fully functioning and totally there. So I'm definitely finding myself ready to kind of go try to get some sleep and move into tomorrow where I get to do my refeed. So one of the challenges that I feel, actually probably the biggest challenge that I feel in all of this, really comes down to the mental game in prepping for this and in going into it. So I actually feel like the first few days of the fast tend to be quite difficult for me because I'm going into it. I've got the 9 days ahead of me, and there's almost this anxiety inside of my body that is like, can I actually do this? Will I actually be able to get through the 9 days? And it's only been 2 hours and I'm starving, like there's kind of that headspace thing that goes on. And so I really noticed that mindset of, can I do this? Will I get through the whole thing? And is it going to work? Those really bring a lot of stress into my body. And I really hold on to that. The first several days of a fast, there's a lot of stress holding on to like those questions in my mind. I will say I had like a really cool experience a couple of nights ago where I just had this profound knowing, like, it's going to be okay, Jessica, you're going to get through it and things are working. And that was really big for me. I think that actually really helped me to have a shift and kind of kicked my energy up for a couple of days. And interestingly enough, I think what I'm observing in my body today is that when I go into a refeed, when I exit, I start eating the water and the food again. Immediately, I can feel immediately in my body once that water goes in, it's just like everything it just melts. My body just melts. And it's just all that stress of being in the stressful situation without food and water, as well as the stress of, can I do this? Will I be able to accomplish this? That's all held in my body. And as soon as I start eating, that just relaxes. And then my body's exhausted, of course, as a lot of us have heard, and I go straight into sleep. And I just sleep and I'm exhausted. What I'm observing in my body now is, I think, kind of a similar, I think it could be a lot of things. I'm on day 9, I am still fasting, but I think in my head, I've done it. I'm like 12 or 13 hours out now from being able to, drink my water. And I think my ego has said, whoa, I did it. Like, I feel like I'm kind of there, like come hell or high water, like I'm finishing this thing. Like, I'm just there at this point. And because of that confidence, that sense of self, confidence, what's the word? Accomplishment. That's what I'm looking for. That sense of self-accomplishment has come in. And I think because of that, my body's just like, and I can relax now. I'm there. Like, I've done it. And so I'm finding myself like very, very sleepy. So to kind of wrap that all up, I think that the mental game really is like the trickiest part, and being able to go into something and hold the space for that throughout the whole time. that's the challenge. So here I am, and I'm ready. I'm ready to go, take a little nap, rest my mind, rest my body, and then prepare for the next half of things. Because as glorious as it is to be drinking water and repeating, that has a whole new set of challenges, I know. And so now I kind of got to get myself ready, prepped and ready for that second half. Okay, hi, this is Jessica Peterson. Today is day 6 of the retreat, and I am on my exit day. So didn't get much sleep last night. Just kind of laid in bed watching the clock and feeling anxious and excited for the opportunity to drink some water. 5 o'clock, that came. I had a lovely shower filled with all kinds of natural baking soda and clay concoctions that Svetlana had made for us for brushing of the teeth, washing the hair, washing the body. It was so beautiful, such a beautiful experience. There comes with, going 9 days without food or water, such a deep, deep appreciation for some of these things that we have and we use on a daily basis. So taking that shower, drinking that first sip of water, very, very humbling, a very reverencing experience. Got a lot of emotion, a lot of gratitude for all that we have. And it's just really beautiful. I find my exit days to be quite sacred and almost reverent feeling as I kind of step into, stepping back into the world of being human and having water again. So it was beautiful. Had a beautiful morning. I've been very exhausted since then. I crashed. I feel like my body really just releases and relaxes finally, and I just sleep. So I've spent the entire day in bed other than getting out of bed and made sure to get out and get down to my treatments. And I am here, and I will be heading straight back to bed. And it's beautiful. I feel like as my body has been through so much in the last 9 days, I feel like I'm getting a moment to rest, and it's almost like my spirit and my energy and my body, I'll just have to recalibrate and reintegrate. Feels like there's still a lot of work going on, but it feels very calm and beautiful. Switching gears here, one of the things that I felt worried about as I was coming out here to Montenegro is weight and losing weight. I'm tall, so I'm 5'10", and in pounds, my average weight prior to coming here and prior to even fasting was closer to like 128. Once I started doing some of the preliminary fasts before coming here, I dropped down to about 115, and that's about where I hovered in preparation to come here. So I started this fast out, I think, right around there, 112, 115, like the days before. And at this point, I think scales are different, the one back at home and the one here, but I think I ended up like around 92 pounds, 42 kilo. I don't know if those line up exactly, but right around that thing. It was interesting for me because this was a concern of mine coming into this, and every well-meaning, loving person in my life, if I ever told anybody what I was doing, the first comment was like, but you're already so thin. What are they going to do about your weight? Like, it was always a concern. And that was a concern for me as well. I had spoken with Doctor Filonov about that a few times, and he just really didn't seem to be super concerned about it. I remember him saying, well, what's more important, like a healthy body without all of those, like bad cells and toxins, or a body that's, got some weight on it? And so I don't know, like I just continued to trust him and trust what my heart felt was right, which is moving forward with doing this fast, and just kind of kept taking those steps. Well, I remember when I did my 5-day fast, I got to the end of my 5-day fast, and at that point I was probably about 95 pounds, which is pretty tiny for somebody who's 5'10". And I remember just having like the intuitive feeling, or probably just more of an intuitive feeling that it's okay, Jessica, you're going to be okay. Like, you look very skinny right now, but like your body still has more that it can give in order for you to heal. And like, it's okay. And when you get, or if you get to that point where it's too much, then the doctor will pull you off of the fast. And so it was so helpful for me to have that kind of intuitive feeling before coming out here and doing the 9-day, because I remember getting to that 5-day. I remember being very, very skinny, and I remember just being so calm and so just knowing like, it's okay. I'm okay. I feel safe in my body. I trust my body. I trust the doctor, and I trust the doctor of my body, and I know that it's going to be okay. And it was also helpful for me after doing a 3-day and a 5-day to observe in my body, it comes back. I think within a couple of days, I had gained like 5 to 7 pounds just drinking water again. Like, it comes back. And I know that the process of rebuilding my body, the muscles, and just bringing it all back, I know that's going to take some time. I know it's going to take several months to really, really get back to feeling good and strong, and maybe even more than that to come back. But I love the idea that I get to start over, like I get to let go of all of those things that weren't serving me. And there's this really obvious physical doing away with these parts of my body that weren't serving me. And now from here, I get to start from the ground up, and I get to start building a new life and a new body, and all of it in a way that I want, and in a way that is healthy, and a way that serves me. And I just really trust this process. If somebody saw me right now in a swimsuit, they would be scared. I mean, they would surely make comments. It is a little interesting, but it's not forever. It's for a couple of weeks, and things will come back on. So this entire time I felt very safe, and I felt very, I felt really confident in everything that's going on. So anyway, so grateful for Dr. Filonov and for his staff and the support and the education that they've been able to give me, because had it been up to most people, they would have probably said, this is not for you, you're too small. But because of the confidence that they had, I really feel like this is something that I was able to step into, and I'm already starting to feel all of the results of the fast and how it's going to clean and cleanse my body, and I get to start now. Okay, today is day 7 of the retreat and day 2 of exit for me. I have spent the better part of the last 2 days in bed, which has been a welcome relief after a week and a half of no sleep. I can't say that I'm totally surprised by my response. I know after I did my 5-day dry fast at home, I spent the next 3 days pretty much straight in bed. So I had kind of anticipated this. But yeah, so I've been spending pretty much all day, every day in bed. I get out to go do my treatments and come do this recording, and that's about all that I've got in me right now. But I know that my body is just working through all of the healing processes. I know there's a lot going on. So there's just a lot of compassion in all of it, a lot of compassion for the body and everything that we've kind of been going through together. And so I'm just looking to be patient and give it a lot of love as we work through the next few days. And I know that I'll get my strength back and come back too. Hey, this is Jessica. Today is day 8 of the retreat and day 3 of exit for me. I am finding myself to be quite emotional, I think, as I go into my exit, or as I continue on with my exit. I feel like my body has really, really relaxed and is so exhausted that a lot of those emotions are kind of starting to come up. I feel like I'm starting to have more of like the emotional, spiritual purge that maybe comes with the fast. As I've kind of laid in bed for the last couple of days, I've really just observed myself in just full exhaustion and surrender to my body. And I think there's been an element of hardness, what's the word, just difficulty in that I'm just really, really exhausted, and I'm finding myself struggling to think, struggling to move, just like everything feels like it's taking its toll on me. And so what I'm finding is that I really get to tap into my mental, awareness, the reasons that brought me here. I have to keep thinking back to why is it that I came here? What is it that I want? And what is it that I'm going to get out of this? Because truly, actually, in these days have been pretty tough just because I've been so exhausted. So working on just kind of having faith in the process and letting everything integrate and trying to keep it as positive as I can until I get a little bit more strength back. Hi, I'm Jessica. Today is day 9 of the retreat, and today is day 4 of my exit. I'm feeling like I'm starting to come back online a little bit. The last couple of days have been pretty intense, spending a lot of time in bed. I feel like my brain kind of turned to mush a little bit, had a hard time, having conversations and having sentences that flowed. And admittedly, laying in bed, there were a few times that I was like, what have I done to myself? So that was a little bit, like a little nerve-wracking for me, but starting to feel like I'm getting a little bit more clarity back in my head, waking up a little bit more. My body wants to be in bed all day, but my brain is waking up a little bit more, which is nice. I think with all this, the thing that I'm learning is that, it really is just a journey, and there are so many ups and downs with the dry fasting. So many moments of being elated and feeling good, and then, like I did it, and then the moments of like, oh, it's crashing, it's not working, what's happening? I'm weak, and up and down. Like there's just a lot, and I know that for me the trajectory is upward. I know that I'm on my right path, but many times over the last several months, I've had to come back to my why, and I've had to come back to that moment that said, yes, this is the right thing for you to do, Jess, because there have been some really tricky moments in all of this. One of the things that I've been faced with just in the last couple of days is missing my family. I've got 5 babies back at home, ranging from the age 4 up to 13. And I've been gone from them now 2 weeks, a little less than 2 weeks. It'll be just shy of 3 weeks by the time that I get home. I've never left my babies for that long. And so that's been a challenge. It's been interesting with the chronic illness, with the Lyme disease. It's really for someone in a family with children, it affects everybody. It affects everybody. For the last couple of years, my husband's really had to step up, and he's taken over kid time a lot while I'm in bed and resting and doing treatments and this and that. Like it's been a lot for our family. And thinking back to August, it was that I did my 3-day, and then September I did my 5-day. I was home with my babies, and they were observing me as I was going through my dry fast. And, it was scary for them because living in America, they all also had the same mindset that you die after 3 days of not eating or drinking. And so I know for my children, my husband, my mom, family watching me go through that first 3-day, like everybody kind of felt like they were on pins and needles a little bit. Like, is mom going to be okay? And my kids, I was laying around, I was exhausted. I could barely stand up. I was getting super skinny, and my kids, I could see in their eyes, and my husband's eyes, my mom's eyes, like, what is she doing? Is she going to be okay? Like there was that fear there. And where I hadn't been through it yet, I kind of reflected that, and I could feel that. But then coming out of the 3-day, and giving myself a week or two, and then just feeling all of a sudden this light coming back into my life, finding myself laughing, finding myself, playing with my kids on the ground, or, here, mommy, look at this. And I'm like, wow, I love it, instead of the disconnect that I used to have. I think that for me, that was enough, even just after like a 3-day, that was enough for me to go, oh, something's shifting. And that was enough for them to also see, oh, something's shifting in mom, and she's going to be okay. After a week or two, the weight started coming back on. I started looking a little bit more normal again. And then I did it again. I did a 5-day, and we kind of went through the same thing, but it wasn't quite as extreme because I think they were used to it. They saw mom get really skinny. They saw mom spending a lot of time laying around in bed, not being able to do much, not thinking straight, and every now and then they'd be like, are you okay, mom? Or, like, mom's super skinny, like making funny comments like that. But then I pulled out of that. I would gain some weight back. The light would come back in, a little bit more energy. And just the energy in our home kind of started to shift. Obviously, as the matriarch of a family, there's a lot of energetical influence that you have there. And after years of chronic illness, I believe there to be a lot of lower vibrations that are trapped in my body. Even though I've done so much to eat healthy and meditate and do the energy work and, like I do all of the things. And yet I feel like there's been so much of this low vibration energy that's been stuck inside of my body. And with each fast, it feels like some of that energy just lifts and moves out of me. And I just lighten up and I find myself laughing and smiling. I find myself more patient. And it's such a beautiful thing. So today we did meditation with Michelle, and she talked about us, like talking about our why. What does our new life look like? And for me, one of my biggest whys is indeed my family. Like the thing that I want most is to be able to show up as a mom. I want to be able to go outside and play with my kids. I want to be able to go do the evening things and not be exhausted. I want them to be able to say like, hey mom, can you help me with this? And I don't feel overwhelmed, like they are my why. And this has been a sacrifice for everyone in my family, for my husband, for my children. I've got wonderful family and friends around who have been supporting me and my family as I've gone through all this. It's been a group effort. It takes a village to get a mama better. So I'm so grateful for all the people who are showing up to support me in this. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be here, to have the knowledge that I have, and to be learning these tools that I can integrate on my own back at home to both heal and take care of myself, as well as be able to take care of my kids as things show up for them. So I think that's it for today. Hey there, this is Jessica. Today is day 10 of the retreat, and I am on my 5th day of exit. I feel like this exit's been interesting for me. It's been a lot of kind of up and down. I find myself at night when I'm alone in my room and awake. I find myself, sometimes questioning what have I done and feeling so weak, like kind of feeling some of that darkness come in. And then usually in the morning I wake up and we come down to breakfast and you start meeting and mingling with all of the participants here at the retreat. And there brings like a sense of light and a sense of like, okay, this is normal and we're all kind of in this, and you can see the light in people's eyes and you can see their countenances light up, and you can kind of feel the energy coming back into the group and into the retreat, and it kind of fills you. And then, I'll go back to my room and I'll be exhausted and I'll kind of feel like another wave of like, oh, what have I done? And this is so hard, just kind of go back into the dip. And then I'll come out and I'll see people and the sun will be out and it'll be a beautiful day. So there's just like a lot of ups and downs in this experience. And I feel like the one thing that I have needed to remember is just to have faith in the process, to let myself integrate and just be patient with all of it. Because, I too have done a whole bunch of research before I came out here. I read stories and I watched everybody's testimonials, and, I did a lot, and I did a lot mentally and physically to prepare myself. And although I do feel like I showed up prepared, there's also nothing that can really, really prepare you for this, there's no way to just show up and be an A student. I tend to like to be like an A student, and, there's challenges all along the way. So a lot of patience, a lot of compassion, and a lot of perseverance, even through the dark parts, I think is really important. If I had any advice to people who are considering coming out and doing this, it would be definitely to do your research, listen to the testimonials, see what people's experiences are. Know that nobody's experience is the same. No fast is the same. Like everything is so multidimensional. And so as you kind of expand your mind to knowing and seeing that there are so many ways of going through this and experiencing it, that does actually kind of help to prepare you for anything, because really anything could happen. So I feel like really doing that research and working on like making sure that you do what you can to prepare your body, doing the preparatory fasts and the cleanses. It was very important. And then also working a lot with the mind, making sure that the spirit's ready and the mind's ready, and, having mantra or, whatever it is that you need to kind of help get you through. Because definitely you're going to need an anchor in order to get through this. It's quite the experience. But I will say, as I'm still early on in my exit and still early on in feeling, really feeling like rejuvenated and better, I do feel like as I look around and as I tune into my heart, I feel like there is a light there. There's a lightness about the people around me. There's a lightness in my heart. And I just have to remember that things will shift on an energetical level first, like the spirit and the energy shifts and the body takes its time to kind of catch up to that. And that's something that I feel like I have to kind of keep reminding myself because, I've got the light, I've got a little bit more wakefulness, but the body seems to kind of be dragging behind. And so just having a lot of patience with the physical coming into play is something that I'm also learning. So, hey, this is Jessica Peterson, and tomorrow is the last day of our retreat here, and I am on my exit day 6. This has been quite the experience, quite the last couple of weeks. So many ups and downs, so much growth, so much expansion. And, I've really had the opportunity to look inside and have to really find the grit and the grind within myself to get to this place. One of the things that I feel like I've come to observe in the last few days is I feel like I'm kind of coming now out of the fog of the refeed a little bit, is, really just observing the lightness in my head and in my countenance and in my body, and kind of just the light and the clarity and the tranquility that has kind of come in. And it's been very interesting for me to observe because, dealing with Lyme disease, I always talk about the voices in my head, and the voices are kind of just that negative, the negative talk and just the negativity that seems to always be kind of running in the head. And for years and years and years, I worked through meditation and affirmation and, healing work and different things to try to clear those voices out and clear out the negativity. And, it's always a battle. I'm always putting light in, whether it's meditation or music or movement or whatever. I'm always putting light into my body, trying to build myself with light. And the thing that's been so interesting to me on a, energetic or on a spiritual level is that as I've gone through this physical purge and I've kind of purged the food and the water and the toxins and those things out of my body, there's also been this purging on the emotional and the spiritual level that has left me with that lightness and that tranquility. And it reminds me, I don't know the exact quote or somebody just said it, but somebody said something one time about, we don't have to go looking for love. All we have to do is remove the barriers that keep us from feeling it. And I feel like that has come to be such a truth for me in this experience, where I've spent so much time looking for love, looking for lightness, looking for help, looking for healing, and trying to put all those things in my body. And yet, as I've gone through this purging, as I've gone through the fasting, as we've gone through the starvation, all of these things have come out, and it's opened up this space for me to all of a sudden connect in with this light and this love and this tranquility that just seems to just be there within, and I don't have to go searching for it. So I feel like that's been such a beautiful thing for me to recognize and feel and experience and really kind of lean into. So yeah, as we come to the close of the retreat tomorrow, we head home, and this has been an adventure for sure. I feel like if I had anything to say to people out there that were considering doing this, it would be, do your research, come prepared, and be ready for a transformational experience. I know that I'm still very much in the early phases of what this, I guess, the potential of what this fast has to do for me. And I'm excited to see over the next couple months what new parts of me start to bubble up and come forth and start to shine now that I've kind of moved some of that gunk out of the way. So so much gratitude for Dr. Filonov, so much gratitude for the team. Such a wonderful and beautiful experience, and life changing for sure.